this is Joanna and welcome back to another video, and today I created two shaker cards. I couldn't decide which image to use, so I decided to make two. And I'm using this stamp set from Paper Smooches. I really love it. It's not a new stamp set, but I recently got the dies, so that's why I thought I would make a shaker card out of it. And I will also use one of the sentiments from this stamp set, also a Paper Smooches one. So I'm starting out by scoring my card bases, and I'm using Nina Solo White 110 pounds, and I'm scoring them at 5.5. So these are standard size top folding cards, so they are 5.5 and 4.25. And then I have another piece of cardstock, and I'm cutting this just slightly smaller because this is going to be my card fronts, and I want the card to have 1/4 of an inch of a border. So I'm just cutting them slightly smaller than my card base. And then I'm using my anti-static powder tool on top of some vellum, and I'm stamping my sentiment in Versamark because I'm going to do some heat embossing. And I'm using my embossing powder from Hero Arts. This is in silver. And I really like this on top of vellum. I think it's really beautiful. And when you are heat setting on vellum, I think it really helps with the warping if you warm up your heat gun a little bit before. And then while the embossing and the paper is still warm, just work the paper a little bit. And then I'm using my paper trimmer again to cut this down to size. And I'm not measuring this, I just want an even border around the embossed sentiment. So I'm just eyeballing this. And now I have both pieces. I made the other piece off camera, but I just made it, of course, the same way. And the reason that I did the sentiment strips first was that so I can be really sure that I lined up my die cuts in the exact spot. So I'm using some washi tape, and I'm taping down my dies on top of the card fronts, and then I'm just running them through my die cut machine. And I won't be using the images that I cut out on this card, but I will be saving them and I will use them for another card. And now I'm taping my card fronts on top of the card base, so I know so it will have an even border. And then I will mount my stamp on top of my viscose stamp press. And I will stamp through the piece that I cut, the front piece, on top of the card base. So I'm just lining it up, and it's really easy to do because it's clear stamps. That's really easy. And then I'm just doing the same thing with this really cute snowman. I'm just stamping it through the card front that we cut on top, and I'm stamping this on top of my card base. And I was actually planning on coloring this with Copics, but I'm using, as I said before, Nina Solo White 110 pounds, and the Copic will bleed through this, so I changed it and I'm using my Prismacolors instead. And I'm no expert at Prismacolors, I'm no expert at Copic colors either, but I really enjoy working with them. And what I did was I just used my pencils to layer down a thin layer of color. And then I use my paper stumps and my Gamsol to blend the colors. And this breaks down the pigment in the pencils, so it will get a smooth blend. So I'm layering down some shading on my snowman. And as you can see, nothing is bleeding through to the back side. And then I'm doing the exact same thing with the trees. So I'm using some different shades of greens, and I'm just layering it down. And I'm starting out quite light. And then I'm using my mid-tone color, and I'm adding some shades on top of the trees. And then I'm going in with the darker pencil. And I know there are really good YouTubers out there that don't need Gamsol when they're using Prismacolor pencil. They can really blend them together nicely without the Gamsol. But as I said, I'm not one of them, so I'm still cheating with Gamsol. And it turns out really smooth, and I really like working with them. I think I'm going to use my Prismacolors a lot more, and I will try to practice and get better using them. And if you have used Gamsol and blended out your colors, but you are not totally happy with the shadows, you can just go in with the pencil again and then use your Gamsol again on top of it. It works just fine. So I really like that too about the Prismacolors and the Gamsol. And here they are, all finished. And now it's time to work on the shaker area. And I have these pieces of fun foam. So I will use 2 fun foams on each card, or 2 sheets of fun foam. So I will double up the fun foam. So I'm using my card front as a guide to know how much fun foam I'm going to use. So I'm just cutting 4 of these out using my scissors. And then I'm using a pencil to draw in the shape of the snowman. And I just use my scissors to cut him out. And fun foam is super easy to cut through. And if you don't have fun foam, you can of course use double-sided adhesive. But this makes it really easy. So then I'm just tracing the shape on top of the second layer of fun foam. And I'm just using my scissors again to cut it out. And I have my ATG gun, I use that a lot, but it doesn't adhere well on top of the fun foam. So what I'm doing here, I'm using my Be Creative tape, and I have these in big sheets, but I'm a little bit too cheap to use the entire sheet. So I have cut this down to small strips using my paper trimmer, and then I will just adhere it to use this as a glue instead. So I'm just removing the backing, and then I'm adhering the 2 pieces together. And I'm just smoothing it out, and I'm trimming off any of the excess. And then I'm using the tape again to adhere on both sides of the fun foam. So on the back and also on the front. And here I'm just adhering my fun foam on top of the card base. And I'm just pressing it really good in place. And I'm just checking so I like the placement. And I did, thankfully. And here I have my window plastic. This is acetate. This is Judekin's embossable acetate. But if you don't have this, you can use any type of acetate, of course. You can use an old piece of packaging. It works just as fine. So I'm just adhering that in place. And before I adhere this on top of my card, I'm also adhering my sentiment strip. So I'm just folding the vellum and I'm using my ATT gun to adhere it in place. And now it's time to fill the shaker, and I'm using some fake snow. I have used this on a previous shaker card this year as well. So I'm just adding some inside of the shaker, and I'm also using some white glitter. And if you don't have this fake snow, I think it will turn out really good with white flock also. So I'm just adhering my top on top of my card base. And I really like how this turned out. I think it's so cute, and the result is so clean and simple and crisp. And then it's time for the other shaker, and I'm going about it the same way. I'm tracing the image on top of the fun foam, and then I'm just using my scissors to cut it out. And then I took the piece that I just cut out and I traced it on top of another piece of fun foam, and I cut that out as well. And then I just use my adhesive to adhere everything together, and I adhere it to my card, and I added some more fake snow and some glitter inside of the shaker. And I think I used a little bit too much snow on this one, but I do like the result anyway. But if you are interested in any of the supplies that I used in today's video, they are listed and linked in the YouTube description down below, and also over at my blog. And then I just finish the shaker, so I'm adhering my acetate and also the sentiment strip. And then I just line it up and I'm pressing it in place. And I'm giving the shaker a shake. And when I looked at the snowman card again, I thought that it needed something else, but I didn't want to add anything on top of the card base or the card front because I really liked how clean and simple and crisp it was. So I just carefully pulled it apart, and then I used my corner jumper to round the top left edge. And I think that made a lot of difference, and I really like how it turned out. It mimics the round shape in the snowman. And now I don't have to add anything else, and the card is still clean and simple. So this was all for me today. And if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care. Bye.